Okay, we good, Michael? We good?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So good. Oh.
Hi.
Yeah. This is Fire in the Booth. Getting ready to review this film. Boy.
Hi.
Oh.
Dear.
2K21.
Okay, no, that's some Japanese bullshit there. So, yeah, no, basically, of course, we're doing Tokyo Drift, and I just thought we had to start off with that song in our cold open, because it's the most brilliant song. I love it so much. Like, unironically, I love it. And I think, this movie has its faults, as we'll get into, but one thing it does not fault, or one thing that is not a fault, is the title song. The titular song, if you will, Michael. Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift, or it's just Tokyo Drift, by the Teriyaki Boys. I assume you're a massive fan of this as well.
I'm actually content to have only listened to it when it's been in this film, but with that said, I do enjoy it when it's on in this film. I can't say that I've ever sought out this song, but maybe now that you've played it here, I will actually listen to it again. Obviously, at least until the stupid Japanese bit.
Yeah, well, that only makes one of us. I just want to point out a bit at the end of the song, which I really do like. I think it's great
Is
throughout.
Is it the ending? When it's over?
No, there's this lovely section at the end, and the lyrics here are just superb. I love it so much. Have a listen. Here we go.
That's really good, because I'm a Chinaman, but I ain't from China, man.
No, yeah, don't call me China. Don't call me Chinaman, because I ain't from China, man. I'm from Japan, man.
That's
so you
good.
see, you can call Chinese people Chinaman, that racial slur, but you can't call him that because he's Japanese. And but I like how he's kind of batting off like racial slurs like that white people say towards Japanese people already. It's like he has to, nobody called him that in the song, but he has to say that just because it happens so much, I guess. Just goes to show how racist white people are. But I love that, and then this next little bit I really like as well. You see Nigo coming out of the black pants as last. You wonder where he get that kind of money. Don't worry about it. Okay, so the bit which I love is when the girl goes, "You wonder where he get that kind of money," and then she goes, "Don't worry about it. Let's go." Like, you're the one who brought it up. Sorry?
It's very zen. Don't worry about it. Just let it be.
No, but the thing is, she's the one that brought it up, Michael.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't worried. I didn't care.
Yeah. She's gaslighting you, isn't she?
I know.
She's bringing something up and then being like, "Why are you thinking about that?"
Yeah. Oh, you wonder where he got that kind of money? No, it wasn't actually. But now you're asking.
Yeah.
No, don't worry about it. It's like, okay, fine then. Jeez, maybe he won it through illegal drag racing, or maybe he was just working a good 9-to-5 job. Investing wisely, all of that shit. But no, truly, Tokyo Drift. This song is wonderful, and I'm sorry you don't have the same enthusiasm I do for it, Michael. That is very disappointing. And I think. Just to end this opening, we should listen to the final bit of the song, Michael. You ready? Yes. Hi. Dear.
Oh.
Hi. Oh, God. Dear. There we go, done. Boom.
Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke. And this week we are continuing Zoom June in anticipation of Fast 9 by looking at the first
it's F9,
three.
Michael.
Oh,
We went through it
F9,
last
sorry,
week.
yeah,
It's
every
just
single
F9.
F9, F9 of the Furious. And we're going to be looking at, well, we have been looking at the first 3 Fast and Furious films of the Fast and the Furious franchise, and we are concluding with, let's say, saving the best till last with Tokyo Drift.
You know what, Michael? You know what? I'm very disappointed in you because we're reviewing these Fast and Furious movies, and that was not a Fast and Furious intro. There was
you're right,
absolutely
actually.
no hype or enthusiasm in your voice. It was
You're
pathetic.
right, yeah, sorry. Let me just get the, do. And today we're reviewing Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. So, Luke,
Yes.
why didn't you tell us a thing or two about the Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift?
Yeah, the Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, the conclusion to Zoom June. And what a conclusion it is, Michael. The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, or just Tokyo Drift, I guess that's how people normally refer to it as, is a 2006, I thought it was 2013, action film directed by Justin Lin with a screenplay by Chris Morgan. It is a standalone sequel for Too Fast, Too Furious, and the third installment in the Fast and Furious franchise, and stars Lucas Black, Sung Kang, Bow Wow, he's not actually Japanese, believe it or not, and with a name like that, and Brian T. The Fast and the Furious, Michael, The Fast and the Furious. This movie was released on June the 16th, 2006. So yes, this is a 15-year anniversary. And like I said last week, well, we're doing this because it's a 15-year anniversary, and we don't normally do 15-year anniversaries, but I think we'll have to make a special exception, for this movie. 20 is normally the first year where we do anniversaries for films, when it's been out 20 years. But this one and a few others we will make exceptions for because it's just so damn good. And Michael, can you tell me how much the Tokyo Drift, let's just call it that, how much did Tokyo Drift make how much did it cost first, of course? I'm getting ahead of myself. How much did it cost?
So last time it cost 60 million. Again, like this film to me, it doesn't feel like it would have been much more expensive because it seems like if anything, the impression I get is
last week the budget for Too Fast, Too Furious was 76 million.
Oh, 76 million. Okay. But yeah, in this case, I feel like I would think cast would be less expensive because there's not really, like, obviously the main people aren't involved in it. I think, would the fact that it was shot in Japan have meant it cost more money? I don't necessarily see why. And while there's some flashy stuff going on, I don't see why that would cost too much money. So I'm going to guess it maybe costs slightly less than Too Fast, Too Furious, because I feel like it has less going on in terms of the cast. It feels kind of like a cheaper movie to me, but I don't want to go too cheap, so I'm going to go for 65 million.
The funny thing is, like, obviously Too Fast, Too Furious was more than The Fast and the Furious. And you do this thing where you constantly try to talk yourself into why budgets would be lower. And again, I thought, well, naturally, of course, it's going to go higher because the last one was higher. But no, you somehow, again, managed to talk yourself into going lower. Like, it's a gift at this point, Michael. I think you might be doing it on purpose just to troll me. Because it is higher than Too Fast, Too Furious. The budget is 85 million.
Wow, just keeps climbing up, doesn't it? Well, you know what, I don't see how, just in advance, I don't see how Fast and Furious, the fourth film, it must have been very cheap, because I think a lot of it was shot in Mexico, and Mexico is quite cheap. So I'm just going to guess in advance that was 50 million.
Okay, well, when we do that, you can guess that. How about the box office? How much did this cost to make?
Now, I think if I remember correctly...
box office. How much did it cost? How much did it rake in at the box office?
If I remember correctly, there was 200 million was the first one. This one, and then the second one made something like a little bit over 200 million.
It's like 230 something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I think, I don't know. See, on the one hand, my one thought is they did kind of reboot the series in a sense with Fast and Furious. I mean, the fact it was called Fast and Furious kind of is like the sort of thing you do with a reboot. Like you come up with a name that feels like it's getting back to basics. They obviously brought back all new characters. Like I say, it seems like they did a bit of a reboot with the fourth one. So I'm thinking maybe this film was a bit of a disappointment. But then also...
Come on, Michael, take a guess.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. I think it probably made just maybe the same amount. So let's say 220 million.
It's actually less, 159.
Okay, so my logic of maybe it was a disappointment would make sense, yes.
Yes, it was a disappointment. 80, what's double 85, Michael? 170. So, with marketing cost, it may have actually...
Yeah, lost money.
Yeah, it may have actually lost money. Although maybe that 85 million budget does include marketing.
You never can tell.
Yeah, that's difficult to tell. So anyway, Michael, did you like Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift?
Well, obviously with the second one, I said that I was disappointed because it was kind of not as stupid in a funny way. This film, it was significantly more stupid with just kind of like, it had like a lot more kind of funny moments or like silly moments. It just felt a lot more kind of over the top. And overall, it had some distinct moments of incompetence. So, I mean, I want to say, like, overall, I disliked it, but I didn't find it as boring as Too Fast, Too Furious. I actually found this a more entertaining film to watch than Too Fast, Too Furious. So,
yeah. I don't think it's as good as Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh no, this is such a controversy.
No, the thing is, like, if you ask me what I would watch between Too Fast, Too Furious and this, I'd be really torn, because on the one hand, I think Too Fast and Furious overall it's better. Like, I didn't find it boring, like I said. But on the other hand, there are some moments in Tokyo Drift which make me smile so much that are really so bad it's good. And it's a balance, you know. You're weighing up overall a better movie, but this one, it's got more of those great moments. And yeah, Too Fast, Too Furious, yeah, it doesn't really stand out too much. This one, yeah, some of the, you know, I'd probably go with this one. I would probably go with this one. And there are moments in this one which are just too good not to miss. So Michael, nitpicks. How many do you have?
I've only got one.
I have got quite a few. So you go first.
So I find it kind of funny that the dad says, like, have you been racing? As if, like, it's kind of, because obviously the logic of how this guy, I've actually forgotten the name of the character, but he's called Lucas Black, the guy who plays him. The logic of how this guy can just happen to have got a car suitable for street racing is complete nonsense. But I like the fact that the dad is aware of the universe he lives in. So he's aware that he lives in a universe where his son, having shown up like a day ago, could already be in a position to be competing in street races in the Tokyo underground racing scene.
I did not have that as a nitpick. I just wrote it down as, like, if I was his dad, I'd be impressed. It's like, fucking one day and you've already managed to integrate yourself in this underworld.
I know, yeah. Like,
completely different country, different language, different culture, and you've done it. Fuck, man. That's impressive.
Yeah, no, yeah. I do genuinely. I mean, there is actually something which I'd possibly get into in a non-nitpick capacity about the kind of the parenting going on here in general.
Oh, right.
But yeah, definitely. I just found that funny, like the dad's kind of just awareness of just like, I know the fucking Fast and Furious films. Have you been out there inexplicably drag racing?
Yeah, and the way he says
it's not
it,
drag racing this time.
Yeah, you know, he says it like, have you been racing? Like, have you been taking drugs?
Yeah, no.
Like, have you been smoking cigarettes? Have you been drinking? Like, have you been racing? It's like, I love that. It's like, I can smell racing on your breath, Sean, which is his name. But yeah, so that's good. I didn't put that as a nitpick though. My nitpicks are the girl in his class, the Australian one, Neela, is also part of this underground racing scene in Tokyo. What a massive coincidence that is.
Yeah.
How do none of Han's crew, Sean and his mechanics, never get arrested? Like, I can understand the Yakuza, maybe they're protected by the cops, but they can just walk into their, like, abandoned, like, garage, which has been taped off because the police have been there, and just collect stuff. Like, wouldn't a warrant be out for their arrest? You know, I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know. Maybe the Tokyo cops aren't that good, Michael. I just think.
Well, I mean, you get that line about how if you're driving over 180, they just won't even bother trying to chase you.
Yeah, I know, but this obviously, I don't know how true that is, but this isn't, like, they've cordoned off the garage. Like, yeah. I don't know. It's not like they would probably want to arrest these people who have been in this garage. Anyway, my next nitpick, recording the race with flip phone Nokias. Oh, that's what happens first off, of course, and then later on, like little Bow Wow and Sean's crew are watching the race with the Nokias on, which you love to see, don't you? Just like the footage must be incredible. Just incredible. Yeah, at night as well. At night, what wonderful stuff. So, Michael, those are my nitpicks. I've got a lit pick. So the film also marks the first to begin the franchise's long-time association with director Justin Lin, of course, but also composer Brian Tyler. Lin went on to direct the following 3 sequels and is attached to direct 3 additional future films. Was that written before F8 came out? Maybe, I'm not sure. While Tyler would go on to score 4 of the 5 following sequels. And do you know who Brian Tyler is, Michael? Do you know who he is?
No, is he related to Steven Tyler of Aerosmith fame?
No, he's not. He's actually the guy who composed the Formula 1 theme. The thing is, I would.
The way you're singing it makes it sound like a Star Trek theme.
No, it's like a superhero. That's the point. It is like a superhero, like kind of soundtrack with like big brass musical instruments. It's like, oh, these guys are warriors, the heroes, the glory of Formula One, and he composed that theme tune, and I really like that theme tune, and I would play it, but I know it would get copyrighted.
I'm trying to remember the Superman theme.
Well, anyway, that's Brian Tyler. So shout out to him for doing the Formula One theme, and he composes this movie. So that's great. So it makes sense that Formula One picked him, considering he's into Formula One. He did this interview where he was like, "I'm really into Formula One," and he's into cars and all that. So yeah, I like that guy. Anyway, Michael, let's get into the plot of Tokyo Drift. Tokyo Drift follows high school car enthusiast. That's a great way to describe him. Sean, do you know what his last name is, Michael?
Locke. Sean Locke.
No, it's Boswell.
Boswell.
I think that's mentioned once.
Yeah,
it's
like Roswell.
Sean Boswell, who is, of course, played by Lucas Black, who was sent to live in Tokyo with his father and find solace in the city's drifting community. The city's drifting community. That is something. So yeah, basically, yeah, he goes to Tokyo and learns how to drift. So first off, let's talk about the concept for this movie. I think everybody is aware that there are significant changes from the first two movies, and one of them is, they're changing location, going to a foreign country. And of course in Tokyo. So the first was set in LA, the next in Miami, and now in Tokyo.
Yes.
Which is a foreign country, Michael. So they decided to branch out to go to a foreign country. But not only that, the second massive deviation from the first two is that, just bigger than the fact that it's in a new country, this movie takes place the movie has none of the characters from the first two movies, apart from Vin Diesel right at the end, but of course we're not really counting that because it's just a cameo, returning in this sequel. That is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, none of the characters, like, the reason why you watch a sequel is because, oh yeah, so I'm going to see these characters, which I like, returning in this movie, doing a similar thing. They're still racing, but there's that...
Yeah,
there's no one who's been in the first two. That is incredible.
Yeah, it was mental
astounding.
that they didn't even have because when I was, obviously I've seen this film many times, but when I was watching it again, I was kind of like, when I got to kind of like the midpoint, I was thinking it would make so much sense just for somebody from the original, first two films to show up as to in some way get involved
for 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that it's incredible. Like, an astounding choice. Like, whoever made this choice has balls. I will say that, because to ditch like any of the two characters that made the first two popular and just go in with a whole new cast like that, this could have killed the franchise. And like you said, it was rebooted kind of in the fourth one called. It was just called Fast and Furious. You had Paul Walker and Vin Diesel back, and obviously Han returned. But yeah, Lucas Black wasn't in a lot of the sequels. I think he's appearing in F9. I read. I think that's fair to say.
Oh, that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, but basically, Michael, the thing was that they weren't sure if they were going to get Vin Diesel, because of course he didn't appear in the second, or Paul Walker back. I think, they really weren't sure what was going on with the actors, whether they could get them back for this one. So they just decided, like, right, fuck it, we're just going to get new actors in to play new characters. That's the position we're going down, I guess. Like, yeah, we're not really sure we can get Paul Walker back, or Vin Diesel. So yeah, everyone's just going to be everyone's just going to be different. And that's our solution. It is interesting, though, reading about the developments. So writer Chris Morgan was a fan of the series, and he originally pitched Vin Diesel in Tokyo, learning to drift and solving a murder. Would you have liked to seen that film?
Oh, wow.
Vin Diesel in Tokyo.
Jinkies, that sounds like a really great mystery.
Vin Diesel solving a murder in Tokyo.
I mean, that does seem, it's the kind of thing they would do. Just to be fair, in a way, it kind of makes... I guess it makes sense. Like, I want
to hear Vin Diesel trying to speak Japanese.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, I don't know, Vin Diesel. He seems like the kind of person who would never ever leave like the city where he was born. He just seems like the kind of guy who wouldn't. You wouldn't describe Vin Diesel from looking at him and listening to him as somebody who would be worldly.
Well, anyway, they hired Justin Lin to direct, of course. Lin apparently was very enthusiastic about directing because when The Fast and the Furious came out, I saw it along with a sold-out crowd who just ate it up. Which, I don't know, man. I mean, look, it was an okay movie. Like we said, we gave it like 5 out of 10, but I don't know, man. It was similar. It's similar to Point Break. I don't know how you could eat that up so much when literally it is a rip-off, I guess, of a movie that came out 10 years prior to that. But anyway, Lin was not enthusiastic, though, at first, and was unimpressed by earlier drafts of the script, saying, "I think it's offensive and dated, and I don't have any intention of doing it." Oh, can you imagine some of the stuff
Yeah.
that was in those scripts, Michael.
Yeah, this is the improvement.
It's like a fucking Mickey Rooney.
Oh yeah,
Breakfast at
definitely. Oh my
Tiffany's.
God.
You'll have a character like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You could definitely
Yeah.
imagine they would have like a lot of tropes.
Yeah, and the script, because of course you had Johnny Tran in the first Fast and the Furious. Like the script just labelled all Asian characters like Johnny Tran 1, Johnny Tran 2, Johnny Tran 3 as well.
Yeah,
Just to be extra.
Vin Diesel kind of going, "Oh my God, it's Johnny Tran."
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's Johnny
Over and
Tran.
over again. Oh my God! Wow. I guess I really am in Johnny Tran's
Also, I'm pretty sure
now.
Johnny Tran was Vietnamese, so yeah, it's
Oh,
also.
well,
I mean, it's also a classic example of not only
think-
our
Do you think Vin Diesel would?
Yes.
know?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I
Anyway.
heard like the rule is if you want to find out like what kind of Asian somebody is, the trick is to ask
could
an
ask
obscure
them.
country. So what you do, so instead of being like, "Oh, are you Chinese or Japanese?" you go like, "Are you from Laos by any chance?" And then they'll go, "No, actually, I'm from China." You go, "Okay," and then you don't look bad.
Why? And then they ask, "Why did you think I was from
It's just
Laos?"
like, "Oh, I met someone from Laos, and you looked similar to them."
You look similar to... No, I'm actually from northern China.
I also like-
We're thousands of miles away from
Yeah.
Laos. Okay, that doesn't make you racist
No, yeah, exactly,
at all.
because you assume Laos, which is obscure. Also, I like how no one ever asks me what kind of European I am, which is unfortunate.
Well, do you go to like foreign countries a lot?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that's
people
true.
ask
Yeah.
you those
To be fair, I've only gone to other European countries. So yeah, maybe if I did go to Japan, people would be going like, "Hey, are you Slovakian by any chance?" I'm like, "No, you racist."
No. Fucking, what? Do I look like a Slovak?
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Anyway, they lost 5-0 to Spain, didn't they, in the Euro Slovakia?
Yeah.
R.I.P. to them. Had a bad go of things. So basically, the producers allowed Lin to develop the film in his own way, although it was a constant challenge and he was always battling the studio to make the film better. I don't think he won that battle. I have to say.
Yeah.
Basically, it was impossible to get the necessary filming permits in Tokyo, so Lin went without permission. He said he wanted to shoot in Shibuya, which is the most crowded place in Tokyo, but the cops are also polite. It takes 10 minutes for them to come over and kick you out. Which is interesting. Unknown to Lin, the studio had hired a fall guy who stepped in when the police came to arrest him, and he said he was the director and spent the night in jail instead, which is a nice
Oh
little
wow, yeah,
tidbit.
this suddenly it sounds like some kind of guerrilla indie film.
I know, but that's the thing. And you think that they're doing illegal street racing, illegal shit going down in Tokyo, and they're literally filming it illegal. So that's that clearly came out in the movie.
Yeah, tell
Clearly
you what, it's a
that's
good thing
what
they
made it
didn't
so
make
good.
that film about the murderer. Otherwise, they would have had to get even more method.
Oh dear. Yeah, you don't want to go that far there. But anyway, Michael, so that is the concept and why they decided to film in Tokyo. A bit of background about the filming and why they chose, new characters and this location. And it's all quite interesting, but again, like, this could have killed things. Like, this, I think, was a very bad decision, even though we look back on it and we like the movie and some people appreciate the racing in it. But yeah, this could have gone badly for the whole thing. And God, imagine if that had happened, Michael. Then we wouldn't be getting F9 and F10 and F11, F12. God, the world would have been so badly deprived of The Rock and Vin Diesel doing ridiculous stunts and crashing and surviving just with a
Daddy's
scratch
got to
on
go
the
to
arm.
work.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, but this movie is great. It really is. There's so many so bad it's good moments, and we have to start right at the beginning of the movie where we get the first one, where we have a montage to start this film. And first thing I noticed, you got to love the United States. There's a high school and there's a metal detector at the entrance, and yeah, that's just what for kids. That's just an old part
That's just
of
the
their
price
life.
for freedom.
Yeah, and also when they race in their first scene, they race through a planned urban development, like suburban development, full of McMansions as well. I think this movie, in like the 5 minutes it's in America, conveys how bad America is very well. So shout out to the movie for doing that.
This film is literally a weeb's dream. It's like not only
it is.
but then America looks terrible. Japan looks great.
Yeah, there's no real tech stuff and there's no anime, so I'm not sure. It displays Japan quite
Also,
well.
actually, I guess he
it's
kind
cool.
of dates a girl. Like, the love interest isn't just like some Japanese cutie who's just like, wow, a white Westerner, I'm automatically attracted to you, which is every
big,
weeb's dream.
strong, big, strong American man,
Yeah.
like Peter Griffin says in another Family Guy reference. Okay, so then, did you like the montage over at the beginning, the sad music over the fat kid being sprayed with paint?
Oh yeah, I actually. That was like so. Like, why even
was
bother
so
setting
weird.
that up?
I know, it was because he walks in and he just puts the screwdriver down, he just walks back
Yeah.
out.
It's like,
So
yeah, that's what happens in
was-
America. If you're fat, you get sprayed with paint.
Yeah, but what was the point in the movie? Like, because fucking Sean, our main character, our protagonist, our hero, is in that. He sees it happening and he just walks out. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the point of that is. So yeah, then he goes outside. It's the end of the school day, and we also get a nice upskirt of the girl in the car. They zoom in on that. Yeah, of course. And then we get our first scene. That was our first montage, and then we get the first scene, and it only gets better from there. So this girl, of course, she talks to him. And that is, of course, literally all she does. And then her boyfriend comes over and says, hey, are you talking to my girl, bro? Like that, just the most...
Oh yeah, that's like literally the one thing we've learned from these Fast and Furious films is that talking to a girl is like the worst thing you can do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think about in Pulp Fiction when they have the whole discussion about foot rubs. It's a good thing they didn't live in the Fast and Furious.
Oh god, yeah, you're just talking to them and that offends them. So then he throws the jock guy throws a baseball at his car, and our charismatic hero challenges him to a race, saying, he only races for pink slips though, so he'll only race if he gets the kid's car as well. And our jock bully's like, why the fuck would I do that? Your car is shit. Why would I race you? And then Michael, the best line.
Yes, okay, I'm glad you took note of this line too.
Of course, how could I not take note of this? The jock's girlfriend says to him, "The winner gets me." So this is amazing for 3 reasons. Number 1, she is already the jock's girlfriend, so therefore he still isn't gaining anything by winning this race.
Yeah,
why would he still agree to do this? He's a fucking moron. He's like, well, what do I get if I win your stupid fucking car? And then his girlfriend well, you get me as well. I've already fucking got you. You're my girl. So why would he agree to do that? He just looks so dumbfounded by that suggestion. It's like, okay, I guess I got to race him then.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, she's going to break up with him if he doesn't race. Which is a crazy thing to do, but this bitch is crazy because she is literally willing to be won. Like a prize in a race.
Yeah, she literally decides that she wants to be, an object.
Yeah, and she is fine as well being this girlfriend to this random guy with a fucking southern drawl as well. Like, just who she's had like a 30-second conversation with. And of course, reason 3 why this is so crazy is the movie is literally objectifying her. Like, she is an object to be won. That's literally what this movie is spelling out. I think back to Ocean's 11 and how, George Clooney and the Spanish guy, I can't remember his name, Michael.
It's the actor who plays him is called Garcia. I know that.
Yeah, Anthony Garcia or something, yeah. For competing, basically he and Clooney are competing for the prize, which was Julia Roberts. That was kind of like, oh yeah, the girl's the prize, and it's bad, it is quite bad, but this movie literally spells it out. I am a prize, I'm a girl, I am attractive, I am a prize to be won for you male racers. All I can say, Michael, is it's not very progressive, and then in the race when her boyfriend is losing, she goes, I thought you loved me.
Yeah, I really like that line too. Like, she's genuinely, like, personally offended that he's not doing well enough in the race.
And then again, this fucking bully, he looks at her and he's just got such a dumb look on his face. Yeah. It's just, it is so bad it's good. It is a wonderful start to this movie, and that's just the first 10 minutes. So he goes, he gets arrested, and you just like when Sean smiles with the girls with his bloody braces.
Yeah, that was.
Did you like that as well?
I know, yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, just like. It's great. So his mum comes in and basically she's seducing the detective, and she manages with her incredible seductive skills to stop the detective charging Sean, even though the detective said, I love people like you because it's a 100% conviction rate. And he just lets Sean go because his mum says, okay, he'll go to Japan. I guess that was the compromise. If you let my son go, I'll send him to Tokyo. What do you think, Michael? Do you think that was a good compromise from the detective?
No,
it was a good move.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely if only it was that simple. I mean, I guess that's how diplomatic immunity works. I mean, obviously we've had some controversies around that, and it's like hey, if you let them go, they'll run off to this other country and then they're fine. So I guess fleeing to escape the law is quite a common thing. Yeah. I guess what's more rare is the law actively sanctioning it.
Yeah, the law being like, you know what? I could arrest you. You've done something really wrong here, but okay, fine. You can go to Tokyo. And yeah, it's just because this like 38-year-old woman was like saying, "Oh yes, I'm Miss, and can I smoke in it?" Like, just amazing. At least it wasn't a judge making the call though. But yeah, still not the best writing there. So Sean arrives in Tokyo, and again another wonderful scene where his dad has to let a prostitute out. Like, I love it, man. Like, just the best screenwriting possible. Tell me you enjoyed that as well, Mike.
Yes, it was. I mean, to be honest, like the whole introduction of his dad, like his dad's just, I don't know, his dad feels like a very kind of no-nonsense kind of guy. So it's just like, I like the idea that he's just irritated at having to be confronted with, and I guess that's why it was so, like, that's why I had my nitpick. It seems like this guy's just jaded having to live in this universe. It's like, oh, that's a prostitute. Okay, let me just deal with this.
Yeah, but the thing is, he gives his son the car at the end of the race, like to race with. It's like he thinks he's ruined his life because he races too much, but he's like, yeah, I'm still going to give you my car at the end so you can race one final time instead of, just fucking leaving. Which he was allowed to do, of course. But anyway, so Sean goes to school, and I don't know why he's in lessons when I'm guessing he knows no Japanese. I mean, what's the point? Like, you think about the first scene, Michael, when he has to put on those slippers. Like, he's at the back of the class, and it's just, he must be like, what the fuck? I don't know, what is the point in him being in there? Like, I don't know. But anyway, we get introduced to Lil Bow Wow. We have Ja Rule, Ludacris, and now this guy. Who's the best, Michael? Who's the best rapper in this Fast and Furious movie?
I was wondering when you were going to bring up the inclusion of the of these different, dare I say, B-list rappers.
Well, it's B-list because we're in 2021 now. It's like nice to look back in nostalgia. It's like, oh, remember Little Bow Wow? Or remember Ja Rule? But Ja Rule peaked again with his Fyre Fest thing, where he said, we lied to a lot of people. That doesn't mean it's fraud.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, Ja Rule. That's what fraud is. But anyway, so yeah, that is that is good. I have to say, I like Little Bow Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ludacris is probably the most prominent. Like, Ja Rule, he was like somebody who was around all the time, yet now he didn't have much staying power. And Bow Wow, I always remember, like, I mean, he was kind of doomed from the start, because who's going to listen to a rapper called Bow Wow? But yeah, like Ludacris, I mean, to be honest, like, I never thought Ludacris, like, was a good rapper, and I don't think, like, people aren't going to be talking about Ludacris the way that they, like, talked about Jay-Z or Biggie or something like that. Like, I mean, how many songs he's got? He's got that Move Bitch, Get Out the Way song, and, apart from that, just some random crap. So yeah.
Doesn't he have something called Labyrinth?
Oh, maybe.
Am I thinking of someone else? Anyway, but here's the thing, it's a good formula putting the rapping, or these rap musicians in these movies, but that was it. Little Bow Wow was the last one. No, they didn't continue after that. They just had Ludacris.
Yeah, exactly,
the rest. Yeah. Anyway, so Little Bow Wow shows Sean his car, and it isn't great. I like that scene while he's really happy about Sean seeing it. Then he takes Sean...
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, then he takes Sean to an underground street race, and that is when we get the Tokyo Drift music once again, when it comes in first in the movie, Michael. Don't you just love it? You know what? We're going to play it again here, Michael, and you can talk to me about, how much you loved that scene while this is going on in the background.
Okay. No, yeah, I mean, I think it was just a really classic scene. I feel like it was something that totally kind of encapsulated the swanky kind of modern techno style of Tokyo. I feel like this film really takes advantage of sort of how
the swanky modern techno style of Tokyo.
It's kind of like, like LA. It is kind of grimy. So is Miami. Like, it feels like just grimy. Whereas now it feels like everything feels like it should be chrome. And obviously, I think even the drifting itself, there's something. It's kind of it almost seems like the drifting's like building off the idea of kind of that Japanese people. There's a certain
I'm going
art
to get into the
to
drifting
it,
later. Yeah, but that is but to be fair, it was invented in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
I also liked when Little Bow Wow handed him some condoms and goes, in case you blow your load. Does he always just have a full box of condoms in his car?
Yes.
I guess he must do.
It's,
yes.
for that joke.
Yeah, all for that joke. When he brings like American kids over to the scene.
And the funny thing is, whenever he's got like a girl there, and she's like, come on, let's do it, let's have sex. Like, I can't. I'm saving the condoms for my joke.
I'm saving the condoms for my joke, where I impress my American kids by showing them all these incredible cars in this underground illegal street racing scene. You won't understand, but here's the thing. Which I don't. Of course, it's a great scene, and I like you say, Michael, the aesthetic, the Tokyo aesthetic. It's cool, and I like how you described it as well. But you're right, like it is a cool scene. The thing is, though, Sean has literally been in Tokyo one day, day, and he has already discovered this underground racing scene. Surely it would make more sense for him to try and do, as his dad says, stay out of racing, try to assimilate into Japan. And then it doesn't work, and he has to go back to street racing because that's the only thing he knows, that's the only thing he's good at. Like, the problem is it happens fucking immediately. It just feels like there's a massive chunk left out of the movie. It's like, oh, we are already here. Like, this is a pivotal point in the movie where our protagonist discovers this new world in Tokyo. And, it's a great scene showing this new world, but with the music going on in the background. Tokyo. But, like, it happens literally 20 minutes into the movie. 20 minutes in and we're already there. Don't you think that's a bit ridiculous, Michael?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
we need
definitely.
some character development before that. Maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because as I was watching this film, I was thinking it's kind of like this film feels like it has a bit more of a personal note to it, because I was actually thinking about how, like, we mentioned that with the original film and of course the second film, Paul Walker's character doesn't feel like deep, and you don't really get any impression of what exactly drives him. You don't really get any kind of like, I never really felt a personal connection to Paul Walker in the first two films. And I was thinking
his drive is that he's cool.
Yeah, exactly. And in this film, it was kind of interesting because in some sense I was like, you know what, actually, they do kind of, this film, it feels more personal. It feels like, we're looking at this kid, we're looking at him going to
Well, they gave
school.
him a backstory.
Yeah.
They give him a backstory, and they give him a reason why he's in Tokyo, like, and the reason why he's into drag racing. Like, I mean, they didn't really say like he's not good at anything else, but you get that impression. Like, this is he's an outsider, but when he's drag racing, he feels like he's in this like world and he likes it. But yeah, he's welcome here. But yeah, like 20 minutes into the movie, like that's the problem. Like, again, character development of him, like, again, not fitting out. Not fitting in, and he is fitting out to make that moment much more impactful when it does happen. And it just imagine how great that would be if it happened like 40 minutes into the movie
I think like
instead of 20.
A bit of restraint would have really helped this film in terms of like building up a bit.
It feels so flat. Sorry, like even with the music, it just feels flat. That's the impression I get.
Yeah, well, it feels it kind of, well, I mean, it just feels completely ridiculous that he does just like the amount of things.
Oh yeah,
that
and there's the logical side
of
of it. Yeah, there's the logic. It's like one day. And yeah. So Sean starts talking to this girl, and what a surprise! She is the girlfriend of, I guess, the alpha dog of this Tokyo street racing world. Like, just like the first guy at the beginning. I mean, he sure can pick the girls to talk to, can't he? or is it just lazy writing once again in this franchise? Let's use the exact same trope as we did before. What do you think, Michael? Which one is it?
Yeah, I mean,
is it just bad luck?
It's I guess within the context of the universe, I mean, it has to be bad luck, I guess. Well, that's the thing, like the luck in this universe is kind of, it's either bad luck or good luck, but the main thing is it's just whatever leads to the most exciting conflict. So it's like, if he's looking for a racing thing, he happens to come across this guy who can take him to this racing thing on day one, and also happens to be a guy who's perfectly willing to give him his racer so that he can, his car, so he's very lucky in that sense. But obviously, if it's, if you can get more conflict from him talking to the girlfriend of a local, the son of a Yakuza boss, well,
he can sure pick him, can't he? So the nephew of a Yakuza boss, completely different thing. Yeah, but anyway, he says that then he says to the what's he called, DK, the Drift King, not Johnny Tran, Michael. That's funny that in the three Fast and Furious movies so far, that the two bad guys have been, like, 2 out of 3 have been Asians, Johnny Tran and in Tokyo Drift, of course. I think he's called Takashi, but like DK is what he's known as. So yeah, this movie has it in for Asians, doesn't it? 66% of the time they've been the bad guys, which you would probably expect in Tokyo Drift. But yeah, it's just funny they had it in the Fast and Furious as well. So anyway, Sean says, you're like Justin Timberlake. You're like the Justin Timberlake of Japan or something. And is that meant to be an insult?
I mean, it is a weird insult.
Like being called the Timberlake, like he shouts, "Good luck, Timberlake," at him as he's walking away. And yeah, it's meant to be insulting, but I don't know. I wouldn't get mad if someone called me that. Like, Justin Timberlake is a very popular, like, good-looking, talented guy. And I'm sure he's got some bad things about him. But generally, if you're called Justin Timberlake, you'd be like, oh, that's good. Yeah,
I tell you what, it's a good thing this film was made before K-pop, because otherwise he would have sounded a lot more racist.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Good luck. I can't. Sigh.
BTS. That's what
BTS.
BTS.
Yeah, the BTS
and
boys.
Jungkook.
Yeah. That's his name. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Jungkook.
Anyway, so the Japanese guy also, like, the Japanese guy. I realize I can't just call people that in this movie.
It's very inconsiderate of them to set a film in Japan.
DK, the bad guy, DK also seems so tired when he's squaring up to Sean. Like, he just seems quite lethargic, I thought. But anyway, so Han, of course, who's watching, he gives this random kid, Sean, his really expensive car, which little Bow Wow describes as the Mona Lisa of cars. And he did it because he just stood up to DK, apparently. So good job, Han. That's a great decision. But he asked, hey, what does DK stand for? And it stands for Drift King. And apparently this racing guy, Sean, who all he does is race, doesn't know what drifting means, which is so dumb. Plus, he's never tried to drift before. Like this is what really bothers me about this movie. This movie is trying to perpetuate this narrative that drifting only really happens in Tokyo, and it is true that like drifting does kind of come from Tokyo, from this area. But but the problem is, Michael, people drift all around the world. It's not just in fucking Tokyo. Like, it's a thing that happens across the globe, and this movie's trying to push this narrative. Like, that's it. It only really happens in Tokyo. You need to go to Tokyo. Like, if you want to learn how to drift, hence, of course, the title Tokyo Drift. It's in the name, and this drifting is like a skill foreign to American racers, which are just so brutish and like horsepower, and they just like charge through everything. I don't know, like that.
There's an Ice Age sequel called Continental Drift. I've not seen it, but I assume it's a Fast and Furious spin-off.
Yeah, but it just seems like total bullshit. Like, honestly, like, you can only get good at drifting if you head to Tokyo. Like, it's like karate. But that's the thing, like, karate was born in Japan, of course, but you can learn karate anywhere in the world. It's just so stupid, Michael. Tell me you agree with me on this.
Yeah. I mean, it's also actually it's a good segue to the fact that I feel like, and it's kind of hard to say whether or not, I kind of am inclined to let this film off the hook and say it's just a general thing with this franchise. But I was thinking about how they do have some sort of ancient Asian wisdom, like Eastern wisdom, where
I was going to get on.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just going.
But the problem is that Sean is so bad at, he doesn't know how to drift. He hasn't even heard of it, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, he's
a racer. How can you not know, or at least try drifting?
It's sort of like funny that this guy, I don't know, like, there's something about when Paul Walker challenges, the guy challenges Vin Diesel, Dom, at the beginning of, the whole franchise. And he's like, I almost had you. And it's kind of like, there's something kind of charming about it. I feel like there's something about this guy. He does feel like a bit of a dickhead. Like the fact that he's like challenging, like he shows up and he's like, yeah, I'm going to challenge, I'm going to challenge this Yakuza boss. Even though, like, does he really have any basis for, like, think about this for a second, okay? He struggled to beat some random high schooler. Like, not, you think about, like, Dom. To
be fair, he might have had a much better car.
Oh, yeah, that's true, actually, yeah.
The car impacts things.
You got to remember, though, it's not about the car, it's about the person behind the wheel. That's what Dom taught me.
And yeah, I think it's probably, well, the thing is, ironically, that is the case. It is about the person behind the wheel in this race, because, of course, Sean doesn't know how to drift, because he isn't Japanese, of course, and he loses, and he, gets back to his dad's house, and that's when we have the, have you been racing, Sean? It's great.
Have you been snorting race?
Have you been snorting race? So now we're going to talk about Fast and Furious continuity, because this is, of course, where Han comes in. He was in the previous scene, and this is when he starts, talking to Sean. And after this film, the three prequels, Fast and Furious 2009, Fast 5 2011, and the Fast and Furious 6 2013, established Han Lu with the main characters before he settled in Tokyo. So Han's explosive car crash was revisited in the post-credit scene of Fast and Furious 6, introducing Deckard Shaw, portrayed by Jason Statham, as the other driver, setting up Furious 7 in 2015. So here's the thing, Michael. This means that this movie was set in 2013. That's what this means.
Yes.
But the problem is this movie is very 2006.
Yes.
Like the fashion, and especially the flip phones, unfortunately, it just doesn't work. I get what they were doing, because they wanted to include this character, because, they want a lot of money, having Han in, because he's an 8. They shouldn't have just killed him. It's a stupid move to kill him, have him in a hospital. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's unfortunately a short-sighted decision. I mean, they still had him in 3 fucking movies, so they don't care. Who cares about the continuity when they're making hundreds of millions of dollars? But yeah, from our point of view, it's just a bit stupid.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I find absolutely bizarre is that it almost seems like it's surprising how well it does work. Like, okay, you've got to admit, when you see the Jason, because I went back and rewatched the Jason Statham scene from Fast and Furious 6, because, and obviously he has like a full-on conversation on his phone, which lasts longer than it would have in the, in the crashes it's shown here. But like, the fact that you don't see the random driver, that's interesting. And then the fact that, like, and this is what's surprising to me, the fact that they set up at the end of this film that, like, Han was known by Dom, because it kind of feels like you would assume, like, the logical thing would be, oh, this film comes out, it does kind of badly, but let's say lots of people like the Han character, so then the studio cynically decides, hey, let's do some past, or what's it called, prequels, where we'll have Han just in there, you know, kind of like what they do, obviously, the Jigsaw films, where they keep bringing back the Jigsaw character, even though he died literally at the end of the third film, but they keep bringing him back through flashbacks, and they have like films, you know, intersecting timelines and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, it's completely haphazard and mismanaged because it was a post hoc decision. They said, oh, actually, you know, we can't fucking do anything now we've killed off our villain, we're just going to have to bring him back. What's weird about this is that it's not quite a complete like post hoc thing. It's not like the film did well, or did well in this one particular area of like people liking his character, so they decided. It's like they kind of like I almost credit them for like putting their balls.
But the thing is, they only did that so they could say Vin Diesel was in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
that's the only reason why.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's surprising how well it works, because it's kind of like you would think.
No, it does. It does work quite well, and it's
yeah.
they had the foresight not to show the driver, and the thing is, the driver who kills him absolutely barrels into his car and flips him over. Yeah. So it works. It works in that respect, to be fair. So, you know, I guess, it's not too bad.
I think it's what Bob Ross would call a happy little accident, you know, like
that's what it is.
Yeah, like it's kind of,
a happy little accident, yeah. But anyway, so Han's relationship with Sean is basically what goes on throughout the next 20 minutes of the movie. After of course, he completely fails in his race against DK. So Han makes him his bitch, basically. We have, did you enjoy the sumo scene?
Yes, I did enjoy that. I genuinely did.
Of course, it has to happen in a movie in Japan. You know, we have to have the sumos, and we have to have the sushi. You know, when he's like, "Oh, not too bad, this sushi stuff." But yeah, we get an inkling that, of course, Han is involved in this illegal shit with, you know, him talking about shipment, and you know, that will of course come up later. But here's the thing: Han says that Sean is DK's kryptonite, and that's why he is racing him. What have you seen from Sean to make you think that? Like, he shows him like this cool Tokyo world, you know, when he goes into like his crib with his, you know, garage, and he's a lot of girls like dancing, and it's like, what has this kid done to deserve this? Why is he DK's kryptonite? Like, Han gives him this red Evo, and he destroys it completely, and then this character says to Han, "Where did you find this guy?" And I agreed, like, what the fuck are you doing, Han? You know, he's this cool customer who always looks in control, and you give this fucking schmuck a brand new car, and he can't drift. I mean, I don't know, Michael. It just says it just feels ridiculous. I mean, he does say he likes people with trust and character, but maybe, you know, Sean is just some dumb American oaf with a massive ego. Like, there's quite a few of them around, and this could be another one of them. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I also found like just the whole, like, I don't know, just the whole thing with the kid. It's just like, it's so strange in how it's handled, and of course, I mean, it's like, it's really hard. Like, the big thing at the center of this film is just how absolutely absurd it is that this completely random kid just has all of this stuff just happen around him. In like, it genuinely, like, it kind of makes me think about like the Force. Like, you expect a character to be like, kind of, you refer to the prophecy of the chosen one who will become the new Drift King. Like, it feels like that's the kind of logic this film is operating on.
Han picks him. He says he's DK's kryptonite because he's the main character.
Yeah, it's like,
and we have to have, you know, him be treated like him be his protege because he's the main character. So that's why it happens. It's just no reason.
I'd like to see like a scene where Han says, like, you know, did you ever hear the story of Darth Dominic Toretto the Wise?
Fuck off.
They say he can manipulate the midichlorians to create life.
No, they say he can manipulate the rubber on the car to get maximum grip out of cornering speed to achieve faster lap times.
Is it possible to learn this skill?
That's great. Is it possible to learn this skill, Han?
Basically, but obviously there is the characterization of this Han guy as well, and it's just like,
oh, well, that's what I'm going to talk about now. Like, Han is meant to be Sean's sensei, I guess. You know, fill this role because, you know, he's Japanese and he's going to impart wisdom onto this kid. You know, Han has this philosophy where he's free, and you know, it works because he's smart and, you know, Japanese, and he basically gives Sean a license to continue to have, you know, the same problems, be the same problem kid that he's always been, being a big fuck up. But, you know, Han gives him like an excuse because he uses like an Eastern sage perspective on the things. So, you know, it's like, you got to be free, man. All those people down there, they live in fear. Just do what you want. And I guess that's better than this fucking dumb Southern like kid saying, "Fuck the rules, man. I do what I want." Like, if you got Han to say that shit, you know, it's like, yeah, that makes sense, man. Yeah, he's so smart because he's Japanese. No, you get what I'm saying?
I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, obviously, there's, you know, people talk about there was the magical Negro, and then obviously there was the magical gay, which kind of became a thing as well. And obviously, I mean, like the thing with like a magical Asian person, it's almost like, well, that's just like, that's not even a trope. That's just like the entirety of like kind of how Asia is often portrayed in Western cinema.
No, it's true. It's
so it's like, yeah, you can't
Asian
even like
people.
nobody can even be like, oh, it's a magical Asian. It's like, well, yeah, obviously.
Obviously.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely like and again, like the thing is, like it should be pointed out because I kind of preempted this by saying like you do get kind of like. I'm trying to think how frequent it is in my head, but I feel like kind of almost pseudo-philosophical kind of things that people say are quite a staple of this franchise,
that's
especially
what
like
Han
Dominic
does.
Toretto.
Dom does it, but Han, I'm going to talk about this now. Like Han is the great scene because Han, I literally say he has this like Japanese magical sage philosophy, which is kind of pseudo-philosophic, I guess you could say, where he says like winning is pointless. Why do you win? Like that's his thing. Like I don't need to win. I only. I only do it. I only drift because I enjoy it. That's his thing. And like Sean's like, well, you win because you want to beat the next guy, and Sean is correct. And that is why people race in general. But anyway, so Sean asks Han, "Hey, what you do? Oh, sorry. Why do you drift? If you don't drift to win." Again, my accent isn't that good. You did a good accent, Michael. Do you want to try and replicate that right there?
Why'd you do what you do if you don't drift to win?
Yeah. And so Han says, I'll show you. And then it cuts to him impressing girls like by drifting. And it's like, okay. He's drifting to pick up girls.
I mean, I believe it's like the Buddha once said, don't do things because of, because you want to win, just abandon all of your desires and just go and bang some babes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why do you drift? Well, it's the ancient Japanese art of trying to get laid. That's why I drift. And that's the thing, because the girls give him their number. I mean, it's a great scene, that scene. Why are these girls just in the middle of the road, like with no one around them? Like, why do they just let like Han and Sean like drift around them? Like, a great scene. It's those type of scenes which make this movie so bad it's good. The fact that it is included. Do you think that's accurate? Mike?
Yeah. I think, it's just lovely. I mean, genuinely, like there is something. It's very goofy, which I do enjoy. I think it does speak to the fact that this film, like, I guess that's kind of funny thing because it's trying to be like, have this wisdom, but then like obviously the wisdom has to be just go get chicks because obviously these are just films for like horny teenage boys.
Yeah, the contrast between this Japanese Eastern philosophy and it's like, we drift so girls can give us their numbers and they really like us. So yeah, that's great. The contrast is wonderful. So anyway, Sean is learning how to drift, and you have do you enjoy these Japanese fishermen, who are still
who are racing connoisseurs.
Yeah, but that's the thing actually, that one of them was a cameo. He was actually a Japanese racing driver.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, it works. It does work from that perspective. But here's the thing. Sean gets too close to DK's girl. It's always the girls, Michael. They always fuck things up. And, they drift together at night. They drift together at night in the Tokyo mountains. And that's the racing driver's version of an affair, I guess. So, DK beats him up. So, Neela, I think she's called, that's it. So she leaves DK to go to Sean. And it's at this point of the, this is the stage of the plot. I'm wondering, where is it going? Because Sean seems to be doing fine, He's racing in this cool, this cool team. He's learning how to drift. He's doing what he's always wanted. He's got his girl, like who he's wanted for the whole movie. And they never have like a sex scene between them, or like a quasi sex scene where like they kiss and like the camera pans
dry
away
hump.
like as someone's shirt gets thrown off. Like they never have that with this movie, which I thought was a bit weird. You thought that was a staple for this franchise, but obviously not. But I do wonder, like, what don't you think? Like we're about an hour in, and it's like, well, Sean's got his life pretty set up, hasn't he? He's got his girl, like I said.
Yeah. Also, his dad seemed to have abandoned like the whole.
Well, his dad kicks him out, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's just living with these guys. So it's like. Things are going pretty perfect for him.
Exactly, yeah.
But we've still got another 40 minutes, so what's going to happen? Well, then the Yakuza come in. So DK's uncle, Kamata, the head of the Yakuza, reprimands DK for allowing Han to steal from him. And the problem with this is we see no evidence of Han stealing from DK. We have no idea.
Set it up. Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, but, just know that we have no idea what happened. How Han did it, even though it's a pivotal point in the movie, as it eventually leads to Han's death, of course. It's just very lazy writing. It's like, well, we've kind of written ourselves into like a dead end here, where our character's doing great, but we've still got 40 minutes left of the movie. I mean, maybe they were always planning to kill Han, but it just seems so like such a BS move to be like, yeah, Han is stealing from DK. Yeah, that'll do. I guess we can, jam this plot back into life after writing it into, like I said, a dead end 1 hour into the movie. Do you think that's
no? Yeah, I think it's interesting because obviously, like I said, in most cases, it felt like the way this film handled, like the fact that Han is a bigger character elsewhere is almost, there's a degree of forethought with it. But in particular with the death of Han, it's hard to imagine that if you had the kind of history of the 3 subsequent films already established with this character, and you knew that this character of Han was going to be kind of a significant character, that you would handle his death so haphazardly, just like, not really setting up. Like, you kind of feel like, I mean, obviously the Fast and Furious films, I don't really think that main characters die very much, if at all. Obviously even Paul Walker didn't die. Even when he died, he didn't die. He just went off to go live as a CGI.
So what's your point?
Yeah, basically, all I'm saying is, if they're going to kill someone, you'd think they'd be like, oh, let's build up. Let's kind of have this foreboding sense throughout the film. Let's kind of really build up. Let's have like this idea of like, you see he's doing something risky. Maybe he almost gets caught at one point, and maybe somebody warns him like, hey, you're playing with fire, and he said, hey, I live to play with fire. It's fun to me.
That's not a good Japanese accent.
Sorry.
But yeah, but you're right though.
I thought it'd be better to do a completely one that was so wrong that it couldn't even be offensive because it was so obvious.
Okay, but that's the thing. Like within 5 minutes, we've gone from no, everything's fine to oh shit, Han's dead. Like we had no indication. Like no indication this was happening before that. He was stealing from DK. Also Han said he had enough money and money wasn't an issue, but clearly it wasn't. But that's the thing. It's just like everything's going fine. Oh, 5 minutes later, Han's dead. Yeah, exactly. No Chekhov's gun, as you said earlier. No setup. No prior past behavior in the movie which would indicate this was an inevitability. It was just like, oh, he's dead now, I guess. Because we need something to happen in the plot. So Han dies in a crash, and it isn't that dramatic, I have to say, his death, because he doesn't look at Sean or anything, and he just dies. Like, Sean doesn't even yell out, like, no, or anything like that. He just walks up to the car and
yeah, that's what I mean about, like, it doesn't feel very, because that's the thing, like, to be honest, like, think about it now, like, if they killed, one of the characters who's been in it for a while now, they would milk the crap out of it. They would be able to like, okay, yeah, if we're going to kill off a character, we really, like, let's say, for example, they killed Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He's been in it since, 5, 6, okay, he's been in it for quite a few now. Like, if they were planning on killing Dwayne The Rock Johnson, they would just absolutely just milk it to high heaven.
Oh, no, absolutely. But, yeah, in this death of Han, he's, like, Sean's just probably thinking, judging by the look on his gumless face, he's like, oh, damn, Han's dead. God damn it.
Yeah, and also, does he really get much of a mention for like the rest? Like, it's kind of like there's not like a sense of at the end. It's not like, oh, we did it for Han.
He doesn't have a scene where he cries.
Yeah,
like everyone, like Han's kind of forgotten about. That's what it feels like. It really does. But anyway, so Sean basically has an armed standoff with DK and his dad, and then he goes to DK's uncle and proposes a race between them. It's just such a stupid thing. It's like, well, you know what? Your nephew hates me, I hate your nephew. How about we race to determine, who, like, again, just a bullshit thing which can only happen in this Fast and Furious universe, but you love it. So here we fucking go, Michael. The accuser guy decides, yep, that's all good with me, and they have the race. And Sean and Han's crew basically restore Sean's father's 1967 Ford Mustang. Again, he gave them to them after disapproving of the racing all movie, but whatever. And basically, they use components of the previously wrecked Sylvia, including the engine. And I like that because you got American on the outside, like it's a Ford Mustang, but inside you see it's made up of Japanese parts, Michael. Nissan stuff. So it's just like Sean, kind of like he looks American on the outside, but he's embraced Japanese culture and Japanese racing. So I appreciate that. So of course they race and Sean wins, which is predictable. But then of course we get a nice cameo with Vin Diesel at the end of the movie. So yeah, like I said before, this movie does try and tie things together with the other movies in the franchise. But I think it's clearly the case Vin Diesel was not there when they filmed it. Like, he was clearly not in the same room as Lucas Black, which is ironic because Vin Diesel's been in quite a few scenes in movies when he's not actually there in real life with his fellow co-stars in recent Fast and Furious
because of all
movies.
The bloody beasts. He's a really cantankerous guy. Well,
I just think that was because of filming. Like, they were filming in Tokyo. Like, Vin Diesel's not going to fucking fly to Tokyo to film one scene. But yeah, no, it was good. Sorry. But no, yeah. So that's the ending. Again, would you say quite predictable, Michael? What you thought was going to happen? No surprises.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I guess like the one actually thing which I found weird is that like, and this is another example like Han seems to get forgotten. You'd kind of think that the Takashi would die. Like, it would kind of be a thing where, like, maybe he, or at least get, like, seriously dishonored. Like, it's kind of like, that's another reason why, like, the Han death feels so mishandled, because it's like, he loses the race, and basically, okay, so apparently he has to leave town, which, I don't know, like, obviously I realize Tokyo is quite a major town for Japan, but like basically the main thing is he loses the race. Like that's the main substance of it. And there's no like moment where, you know, he gets arrested or he gets killed or he gets, you know, injured or maybe even he gets reformed or like he gets stripped of his position in the Yakuza. He just loses the race really. Which just seems like just like this is the guy who's, you know,
well, he gets exiled from town apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously being exiled from town. The thing is, being exiled from town feels like one of those things. It's hard to enforce, you know. Like you can just.
Oh, absolutely, especially in a city as big as Tokyo.
Yeah, like I mean, I like the thing with like Tokyo is apparently like it's one of those places where there's kind of the you know, obviously I mean this is the case like every city. There's like the metropolitan area, then there's like the wider city limits.
Oh yeah,
and
it's like
you know,
38 million people. Yeah,
so like different things.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I think he could probably live in Tokyo quite easily. Yeah. Anyway, so Roger Ebert, this is just to sum up the plot, I guess, of the Chicago Sun-Times, praised the film, giving it 3 out of 4 stars, saying that director Justin Lin takes an established franchise and makes it surprisingly fresh and intriguing, and in that Tokyo Drift is more observant than we expect, and the story is about something more than fast cars. What? The story is about something more than the fast cars? Really? I think this of all the fast, obviously there'd only been three up to that point. This one was about the fast cars most of all. Like there isn't really a plot. It's like Lucas Black gets assimilated into
it's just racing.
Yeah, he gets assimilated into this racing scene in Tokyo. He races, you know, he gets his girl, and then Han gets murdered because of some, you know, he's stealing some money and we never see how he did it. It just, like we said, just happens, and then he races this guy at the end who's his enemy. Like, seems to be a hell of a lot about racing, and I don't know if there's anything more going on in the plot. It's an incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like the Yakuza stuff is almost like there as like an afterthought. It's like, let's just make a film about somebody racing.
Yeah,
we've got to have like something else going on, so let's have some Yakuza stuff.
Yeah, because we have to, you know, this movie can't just be like, it can't just end an hour and well, Sean's all good. He's, you know, he's got the girl, he's like fucking drifting all the way around Tokyo, and he's got his job, he's happy. No, we need some conflict because that's what happens in the movie. In come the Yakuza. And then, you know, the Yakuza are only there really so Han can die and we can set up a race at the end. So yeah, Roger Ebert, I don't know what you're doing. This movie is is very much about racing, incredibly so. Now, Michael, let's talk about Lucas Black. Lucas Black, who of course plays Sean. You know, he's white, of course. He's white, and his voice, Michael, his charisma, not too good. The thing is, when I was a kid. And I watched this for the first time, or I don't know, for the first time, you know, I watched this, you know, when I was probably like 10, 12 years old. I was thinking, this is a shit performance. And when a kid can identify that something's really bad, that's bad. Like, his accent is just, like, quite funny. And, you know, they're trying to make him cool and badass, but when he speaks, it's like, this just doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he sounds like that normally, but the thing is, he's not a good actor. Plus the voice. It's just a recipe for disaster, and his line delivery is it is a case of so bad it's good, because it is quite funny. Would you agree with me on that?
Yeah, I just think like the Southern accent. I mean, obviously, like in some contexts, the Southern accent can come across as, you know, kind of cool. You know, like Llewellyn in what's it called, No Country for Old Men. You know, like if I'm not back, so tell my mama I said I love her. You know, like it's kind of like that. It's kind of like a gruffness to it. I feel like basically,
but
you have to be an old man.
Certain environments.
Yeah, that's it as well. Yeah, like in this context, it just doesn't really work. It's like it just makes him seem like golly gee, Mister, I don't know much about no racing, but I reckon I could maybe give it a college try. You know, like I just we love our college football, so I can, you know, do anything. It's a college try. I don't know.
That's great.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it just seems like. It's too dopey, and it's sort of like
dopey.
Yeah, it's like there's some accents which just don't work for certain things, and definitely, just it's like I guess it's like it's almost as if like the fact he has to be in Tokyo too.
Yeah, the fact that it's in Tokyo, like he's even more of a fish out of water.
Yeah,
and again, the line which I love from him is when he calls DK Timberlake.
Yeah.
Hey, good luck, Timberlake. Like that. I just love that.
Timberlake, he's one of them queers in NSYNC.
He's one of the queer dancing around with these tight-fitting jeans. That's what you are. You fucking queer. Yeah, and then it's just ridiculous. Also, just to add to the ridiculousness of the situation, combined with the poor acting and the accents, he's meant to be 17. This guy,
Yeah.
he's meant to be 17, but he looks about 27. Like, why was this guy cast? Of all the people to put in this like $85 million movie, you picked him. Like, did he win the fucking lottery? Like, was it a raffle and his number came up? Just a fucking crazy decision. Like, apparently, I watched an honest trailer for this, and apparently it said he had no formal acting experience before appearing in the movie, which fucking shows. But again, why would you pick him? Why would you pick him? This isn't like a fucking indie movie or low, but this is an $85 million movie. I don't get it. I don't get it, Michael. By the way, when did you figure out his character's name was Sean?
Oh, I don't know if I ever figured out his character's name.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
he's just the white guy.
Yeah.
You know, a white.
I never really
white
paid
hero.
attention to his name.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. I remember, by the way, one time when I was I was tuning in to watch an NBA game, an NBA basketball game on TNT. A very illegal stream, of course. You know, I never illegally stream anything, and I was tuning in to watch the TNT broadcast, and I got there like 5 minutes before, and there was, I don't know what the fuck TV show was on, but there was something, of course, on before the TNT broadcast the NBA game, and guess who was in that TV show, Michael? It was Lucas Black.
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit, I remember you. You're from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I think he was playing like a cop or something. I can't remember. But yeah, I was like, oh, that's Lucas Black. So he did find work again. That's good. I thought he'd never be allowed to act again. I thought nobody would ever cast him in anything. But someone did. So, that's nice. That's nice, isn't it,
Yes.
Michael? He was also nominated for an MTV award for, it was like Teen Choice Award, like Best Male Newcomer. He did not win that, though, unfortunately for him. A shocking crime. I think you'll agree, Michael, right?
No, yeah. I mean, did he win the Teen Raspberry Award? He should have. To be honest, he should have got a Golden Raspberry nomination.
Apparently he didn't.
Yeah. So,
Apparently he didn't. There's nothing on
it
Wikipedia.
was. I mean, like, genuinely, it is like an iconic, just bad performance.
No, it is really bad. Like, he definitely should have. I mean, 2006. There's the M. Night Shyamalan thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Lady in the Water. I don't know. Maybe something was there, but yeah, he wasn't nominated, but he definitely should have been. Also, like his character as well. Like we said, I complained there wasn't character development before. You know, the first scene of him entering into this Tokyo like underworld, like with the illegal street racing. But there isn't really any character development like at all. Like, throughout the movie.
I mean, it's kind of weird because they start off with like more in place for kind of character development, but obviously it just doesn't end anywhere.
He has a backstory, but that's it. Like he goes from doing or not being able to do drifting to basically being able to drift, right? That's his character development. And you could say, well, he doesn't feel like an outsider anymore at the end of the movie, because of course he's called that throughout the movie, and that's a thing with him and his love interest. They're like, yeah, outsiders. But now we're in this community, we feel like we belong. But that's not because of any development that he takes as a person, it's because of what he accomplishes. He manages to beat the Drift King, so then he becomes, I guess, the new Drift King of Tokyo. That's how it works. But anyway, yeah, do you agree with me, Michael? Not great character development?
No, yeah, definitely, yeah. Basically, I mean, they, at the beginning you're like, oh, there's somewhere this could go. Like, he's obviously he's an arsehole. He's a rebel without a cause. But it obviously just doesn't end anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't
at all.
Yeah. This could go somewhere, but it doesn't. And that is a shame. But his performance, that is not a shame. I mean, it is really bad, but again, it's very enjoyable to hear him just read lines. And that's never a good sign. Unless you're up for a best actor or actress award, where every line delivery you're looking forward to it because you're going to enjoy it. Anyway, so Michael, the racing now. The thing is, this movie, like we've said before, out of all the three that have come so far, this is the one with the most racing. We're leaving it to the end because that's what we do. But yeah, it does. I do appreciate the commitment to this underground racing culture in Tokyo that they try to do in this movie. And it's the most committed out of the first three for sure. And you have to respect that from Justin Lin. Like, he definitely wanted to focus more on the cars and the scene overall. The scene where they're drifting through the Tokyo mountains at night. It's when he's talking to his love interest. It's not the best, but you can the cars are drifting behind each other, and it's like, what, this movie authentically appreciates racing, and that is something you could say for the first two, I guess, but this one really does. This movie wants to show off like racing and of course drifting as well to a large extent. But yeah, I just have to say That's nice, Michael. That's nice. It's nice when a director really cares about the subject, and you can tell in this movie, even though the movie around it ain't great, at least he wanted to show off the racing, and he did that quite well, at least in certain scenes. What do you think?
I mean, I think, I remember you were saying how the original kind of like basis for this film was that it was the guy really, the original basis for the franchise is that the guy like saw underground racing and was like, he wants to say that. And yet this feels more authentically like that. Like this feels like the kind of film where you'd be like, oh, the person who saw this, presumably, saw some racing and really was passionate about it.
Well, Justin Lin, like we said before, he really liked the first one, and he probably liked the first one because of this, illegal underground aesthetic, and he was like, yeah, let me just pump that up in my movie. And so again, like I said, you have to respect that, even though the things around it aren't so great. But the first race, let's talk about the racing, Michael. So I think there's about 3 or 4 races. The first race, of course, when he's back in America, amazing. You got some great music in the background, like metal, and Sean. Do you remember what he doesn't see the tractor in his way? And we have the guy trying to slam into Sean. He just has the dumbest look on his face. And then the girlfriend is just like, stop. I was just thinking, like, what the fuck are you complaining for? You wanted this. Like, why is she even in the car as well? And, they all crash. And, like, Sean flips over like 6 times and just gets a couple of scratches. Just a really perfect racing scene to start the movie off. What do you think?
I mean, my main criticism of it is like there's a lot more. I think like very intense like zooms and like it's really kind of over the top with everything, and it's sort of like as I was I was thinking to myself like this could be a sign of like bad things to come, because it just feels like it's kind of they're compensating for like they're just ramping up the like look, zooming in and all the craziness. The beginning of this film is really bad. Like I think that needs to
no, it was brilliant, but I enjoyed it still. This thing is bad, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was as another channel says, best of the worst. Level. It is like that for the first 10-15 minutes. It truly is. So the second race, when of course he's racing DK. First off, let's talk about the fact that the Aussie girl Neela, when she's talking to her Japanese engineers, remember this bit of dialogue, Michael? I mean, I guess that's what they are, the Japanese engineers. And she says, change something in the car, it's not good for the way I drive. And then the Japanese girl says, because the way you drive is wrong. And she has the computer calculating all the statistics.
Well, that's because that's what the Japanese do. I love their computers.
Again, yes, I wrote that, playing into the Asian stereotypes very well. Or the Japanese or the Asians, they love their maths, they love their statistics, don't they? Great. But then Neela says, I don't need a computer to tell me about my throttle response. Which, can I just say, Michael, for a racing driver is an awful thing to say. To get better, you should always listen to the engineers. It's no wonder she's not the drift king or the drift queen. If she's not, like, the engineers are giving you feedback. Like, if you deploy your throttle this way, it'll make you go faster. And she's just like, no, I don't care about that. I mean, I would not sign her as a racing team, Michael. I can tell you that. And, again. But anyway, the actual race between DK and Sean, it's not shot very well. And this is one of the one. Well, I remember thinking last week you said it wasn't shot very well. I was like, it was okay in Too Fast and Too Furious. This one, it's not shot very well. You can't really tell what's going on. What do you think? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, like the way that they film like him crashing is bizarre. It's like you drive along and it's like in the in the car, and it's like bang, and then it's like, oh, he crashed again. It's like the way the way they show like him failing to drift. It's just like, I don't know. It's just it's just not good. Like it's just
it's not. Yeah. It's not, and also Sean is really bad at drifting. That much is clear, isn't it? So the next, I guess, racing scene was when Han is getting chased by DK with Sean and Nala with him. And again, sometimes it's hard to follow, but I do enjoy the bit where they drift through a massive crowd of people. Where the massive crowd of people.
That's like it kind of feels like this is one of those films. It almost reminds me of like Zack Snyder in terms of being like. You get the impression the director had like an idea of like certain shots like that he had in kind of his mind's eye, and he wanted to recreate them. And those shots, when they appear, you're like, okay, yeah, he wanted to do this. This is like one of the ideas he really had in his head about like this film, and that shot's doing that, yeah.
But the problem is like a movie is just more than an aesthetic and like cool shots. And maybe Zack Snyder, he's guilty of that sometimes. But again, like a decent chase there. overall. And the final race, again, I enjoyed it. Of course, you knew they were going to be dicing with each other for the whole way. But at least, I will say this for the last race, at least it didn't end in like an almost dead heat finish with one just beating the other.
Interesting, yeah. I will say, like, it being at nighttime, I was like, I felt like, Japan has got like Japanese mountains. That seems like it could be quite kind of visually stunning, and like you combine that with the excitement of like the racing. And I feel like a lot of the later films do have kind of,
but they wanted that nighttime aesthetic.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, but to be honest, like they couldn't even because obviously the nighttime thing makes sense in the cities when they got all the neon and stuff. But I was just thinking, with the natural thing, you'd think, but it wasn't terrible. I just thought to myself, oh, maybe it could have been a bit more visually interesting if it were brighter. But it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, no. It's fine. Yeah. I think it's. Here's the thing. It's like it's dark. It's at night, but you can clearly see everything. So I think they didn't film it at night. They used like a dark, like a night filter, whatever the film technique is. I'm sorry, I'm not that technical on that. But yeah, again, if they just filmed it at day, that might have been better. To be honest, yeah, I think so. But again, you want the aesthetic of like, illegal street racing. It happens at night. It happens at night in Tokyo, so it needs to happen at night in these mountains. Anyway, by the way, when DK flips out at the end, like when he's falling down the mountain, he like if you pause it midway, like there's a shot of him in the car, like where he's like slamming his fists against the wheel.
Okay. He's angry mid.
Yeah, but like he's wailing as well. Like I don't know. It's a very funny shot. So if you ever watch it, make sure you pause on that moment because it's quite funny. It is hilarious, to be fair. And yeah, that's it. That's the end of our review. Just time for conclusions now, Michael. So I think it's good if you go first.
Okay. So basically, this film, I think we've pretty much covered a lot of it. It's like there are some really fun moments to it, and it is kind of enjoyable to watch. The way the characters are handled is really interesting because there's like all of this, you've got, for example, Sean, who has like, the film feels like it's a lot more personal than the other films, and in some sense like, oh, this is more interesting than Paul Walker. But then in another sense, the actual development of the character is just completely absent. You've got this Han character who, of course, is really important in hindsight, and you could make an argument, therefore, this film kind of relates more to the overall franchise than Too Fast, Too Furious does, for example. But obviously then his death is kind of handled a bit weirdly. So this film has got like so many like different things going on. But to be honest, I'm actually going to be a bit kind and say that I preferred this film to Too Fast, Too Furious. I mean, I kind of already said that because, even in terms of like some of the competent things, like, the quality of the racing on display and things like that, I found more interesting. I mean, the plot, oh God, see, I must admit, it's weird. The plot doesn't really have a plot, but even the stupid things are fun, and I'm not above elevating a film specifically for stupid things. So I'm going to rate this film. I think I gave Too Fast, Too Furious a high 3. I'm giving this film a low 4. So there we go.
A low 4, you say? Well, guess what, Michael? Guess what? I am going to give it a 4.5 out of 10. That's what I'm going to give it. Right in between the Fast and the Furious, and of course Too Fast, Too Furious, which got a 5 and a 4. So this is getting a 4.5 for me, which I think is fair because, like here's the thing. Of course, there's a lot of fun moments in this, and there is more than Too Fast, Too Furious. And you might be like, well, you criticise the plot quite a bit in this one. It's like wafer thin, but it's interesting. There's a contrast between this and Too Fast and Too Furious, which is like there's quite a bit more plot. For example, in Too Fast, Too Furious, but there are so many plot holes. This one, the plot is so thin there barely is a plot. He's just getting used to life in Japan. So there isn't that many plot holes, but the plot then just becomes boring and shit. And again, it's quite predictable, a lot of the stuff that happens. But the key thing, Michael, it's fun. It's fun. There's a lot of fun moments. And yeah, the acting of Lucas Black just makes it so good. And yeah, again, the first 10-15 minutes are incredible. And yeah, again, would you rather watch Too Fast, Too Furious, or would you rather watch Tokyo Drift? Again, I think they're kind of similar in the quality. Maybe Too Fast, Too Furious is a bit better, but the fact that you'd probably rather watch Tokyo Drift probably elevates it because, I know you can, watch bad movies and they can still be lower, but it's like it's close enough to like Too Fast, Too Furious that the bad elements, the fun elements, can elevate it above it as an overall movie. Giving an overall rating if you get that logic. But anyway, that is it for Tokyo Drift, Michael. We are done. We are done with Zoom June. The only thing to do is, of course, see who got our F9 ratings correct in terms of our Rotten Tomatoes guess, which we did last week, and we will see who did. And the results will be next week when we will review our next movie. And what is that next movie, Michael?
Oh god!
Oh my god, you're not even prepared. You're joking.
I wasn't prepared. I'm
so.
See, the thing is, I'm so used to being. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, Luke, we can finally put aside the era of, not terrible, but frankly kind of trashy, kind of so bad they're good sort of vibe films, and move on to a real classic, Striptease.
Yes, Michael, Striptease starring Demi Moore. That is the movie we are going to be reviewing next week. And yes, that is it. Zoom June is over, Michael. We've reviewed the first 3 Fast and Furious movies. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been one hell of a ride. But I think the best way to finish this review and finish this lovely segment this week or this month is to go out with a bit of Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, Michael. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. See you next week for Striptease. Who have you been?
I've been Michael.
And I've been Luke. Thanks for listening and goodbye.
Goodbye.
It just closed I had it ready and it closed my phone switched off and it closed YouTube. Okay. From this. Tell me this isn't great.
It's fantastic.
Hype! Don't you love the hype?
Hype! I think that's enough of that.
Ah, yeah.
Alright.
I agree. That's the stuff.